what I did is I maintained the parallel plane, as I've mentioned a couple of times, at the bottom of the vehicle and at the top of the vehicle. That way when we hang it on the wall, it will rest in the proper plane. So when people are viewing it, they will see it as it would be in car position. Now I wanted to show you a couple other interesting things when I cut the end off of this. These technologies are all over the place, okay, in the vehicles. You may have seen, I think, there you go. I think I heated it up quite a bit, but this is called a cage nut. Why? It's a nut that sits in a little cage. And these were always welded. These were always welded before, but you see here they're screwed in. And they're screwed in with an automated system called a flow drill screw. And what that flow drill screw does is it spins at a very high RPM, comes up against the material, and it spins, it gets it cherry red, and then the drill flows through and creates its own body. See if you can see in there. See those screws and those what look like extrusions? Those are threaded features now. And so they don't have to weld these on. And where these flow drill screws, they're kind of expensive to install, but when they want to use hydroform tubes and things like that, you only have one-sided axis. So with like a nut or a stud or something you want to press in with a press, there's not enough clearance in here, so the only option is really to put something in with a thread. And so that's what those do. This got a little rusty sitting out here in the rain, but this is a clinch nut. Hopefully you can see that, and that kind of how it wraps around the top of the material, wraps around the bottom of the material, and you can see that, probably see the thread in there, I hope. Hopefully that focuses a little bit. You can see how that is trapped in there. Will never come out. It will absolutely never come out. Now, the reason you see a little bit of rust on there is because these fasteners, unfortunately, are steel. So there is some steel in the vehicle, along with that panel I just mentioned. And the problem that creates, you know, it's a great advantage for lightweighting and you know, all those issues that everybody's concerned about. So we get better gas mileage and such, use less fuel. But when it comes to recycling massive quantities of scrap that have those fasteners in them, gets expensive because you have to sort most of that stuff out. Now in a small quantity like this, I don't think I have to worry about it. But this cage nut, for instance, that's steel. I'm gonna have to talk to the recycler to see what we're gonna have to do with those. I may have to draw these flow drill screws out and remove that cage nut. I wouldn't mind having that cage nut in my garage anyways. It's a very, very nice fastener, and it gives you a lot of adjustment. See, it gives you a lot of adjustment. There's a flat plate behind the threaded nut itself that keeps it inside of this circle that allows for the adjustment. Gotta hold that up higher. And very handy during the assembly process. You can see the screws pretty good from the back of this little piece I took off. See that aluminum spacer in there, so the part doesn't collapse, because there's a bolt on this side that goes through here and screws into that cage nut. So there's a fair amount of pressure that gets put onto this, and so they put that little reinforcement tube in there so you don't crush the this aluminum rectangular tubing. These three sections will show you how the process works with the flow drill screw. You have the initial contact point with the screw on the top side of the material. The screw then turns it at very high RPM, heats the material, and then begins to pierce it and form its own thread through it. And then you see in the final step that what it will happen is it will create a extrusion effect where it allows there to be plenty of thread engagement between the two parts. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next time we will look at the technology called clinching. It's another very advanced high-tech way of joining materials without adding a screw or a rivet. Very interesting. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you'll be willing to subscribe and like the videos, and there's a lot more to come. Thank you.